Hello, BKFK listeners. Coming up in this episode, Sparky Flarkbottom decides to invent a machine to help with Trolla the Troll's messy hair.
I shall call it the Tangle Tamer.
But the machine has a few problems.
Your hair needs a moisturizer.
Sparky keeps trying until Trolla gives her some good advice.
Sometimes it's better to stop than to keep on going.
But first, this episode is performed by...
Hello, my name is Ellie. I'm 8 years old and I live in Germany. I like dancing ballet and riding mountain bike.
Hi, my name is Miala. I'm 10 years old and I live in Stuttgart, Germany. I like riding mountain bike and swimming.
Well done, kids. It's great to have you back on the show. Listeners, if you'd like to perform with us, it's easy and so much fun. And we've had kids as young as 3 performing with us. Just go to bykids4kids.co and click on Audition. All right, let's get on with the story. The Tangle Tamer. One bright afternoon, Sparky Flarkbottom, the inventor, bounced all the way to the grimy grotto, the cave home of the terrible trio.
Hello, anybody home?
She called out. Grumblegut and Snotbeard were busy tuning their instruments for their band, the Boulder Bashers. But Trolla the Troll was sitting on a flat rock, trying to pull a comb through her mossy, matted hair.
Oh, hi, Sparky,
said Trolla, her voice muffled by the curtain of green hair hanging over her face. She tugged hard, and her bone comb made a loud crack as a tooth snapped off.
Oh, for slime's sake,
she moaned. Sparky bounced over.
Gears and gizmos, Trolla. That hair looks a bit tangly today.
It's okay.
Trolla sighed, pushing a bit of hair out of her eyes.
It's got a mind of its own. I think a family of beetles moved into the back yesterday. They seem nice enough.
Sparky peered at the bone comb. It was missing several teeth and was covered in a thick layer of old grime and what looked suspiciously like dried slug slime.
Trolla, you can't tame that magnificent mane of hair with a tool like this. It's like trying to tighten a bolt with a banana.
Trolla sheepishly hid the broken comb behind her back.
It's fine, really. I'll get it untangled eventually.
But Sparky's inventor mind was already whirring. A brilliant idea popped into her head.
No, this won't do at all. A problem this big requires a clever solution. Trolla, I'm going to invent something just for you. I shall call it the Tangle Tamer.
The Tangle Tamer?
Trolla asked, intrigued.
Yes, it will brush your hair perfectly, getting every single tangle out without any pulling at all. It will be my greatest invention yet,
Sparky declared. Trolla's face lit up.
That sounds monstrific. No more broken combs? No more beetle families getting stuck?
Absolutely.
Sparky chirped.
Let's go to my workshop right now. We have inventing to do.
Trolla did a little slimy sneeze of joy, squirting a bit of goo onto a nearby rock. They rushed out of the cave to Sparky's workshop. The workshop was a wonderful chaos of tools, blueprints, and half-finished inventions. Sparky immediately got to work. She found a large, comfortable chair and began attaching pipes and wires to it.
First, we need a chair that fits you perfectly,
Sparky explained, measuring Trolla's shoulders with a special tool. She hammered and welded and tinkered, and soon the chair was ready. A large metal pipe curved up from behind the back of the chair, and at the very top hung a big dome-shaped helmet covered in dials and lights.
There, the Tangle Tamer version 1 is ready for its first test,
Sparky announced proudly.
Have a seat, my dear troll.
Trolla sat down. Sparky pressed a button, and the helmet contraption whirred to life, slowly lowering onto Trolla's head and completely covering her wild hair. With a final clunk, it locked into place. Sparky turned a dial, and Trolla could hear a gentle humming and clicking from inside the helmet.
Now, the process will take about an hour.
Sparky said.
It might get a little boring.
She handed Trolla a magazine.
Here, you can read this while you wait.
Trolla looked at the cover. It was called Monstrously Chic. She opened it up and began to read. The articles were fascinating. One article was called
10 ways to style your hair fungus for a frightful first date.
Another article was titled
Is your slime shiny enough? A guide to glimmering glow.
Trolla was so absorbed in an article about ideas for decorating your claws that the hour flew by.
Time's up!
Sparky eventually declared. She pressed the big red button on the chair. The helmet hissed and unlocked, then slowly rose back into the air.
So,
Trolla asked excitedly.
how does it look?
Sparky's smile froze on her face. Trolla's hair was no longer tangled. Instead, every single strand of hair was standing straight up on end, sticking out in all directions like a giant spiky green sea urchin. She looked like she had just been zapped by lightning.
Oh,
Sparky said quietly.
that's not right.
Trolla reached up and felt her stiff spiky hair.
It feels crunchy.
I need to make a new version.
Sparky exclaimed.
The Tangle Tamer too. The problem is dryness. Your hair needs a moisturizer.
The little gnome got to work immediately. She built a small clear tank and connected it to the helmet with a series of tubes. Then she ran off to Granny Gigglesnort's garden and carefully collected a whole colony of slugs and placed them in the tank.
There.
She said.
The slugs will create a natural slimy moisturizer that will be pumped into the helmet. It's brilliant!
Trolla looked nervously at the slugs crawling around the tank.
Are you sure about this, Sparky?
Positive.
Sparky said with determination.
Sit down. We must try again.
Once again, Trolla sat in the chair and the helmet lowered onto her head. This time, along with the whirring and clicking, she could hear a faint squelching sound. She picked up her monstrously chic magazine and tried to relax. She flipped past an article and found a quiz called
What kind of muck matches your mood?
An hour later, Sparky pressed the button again. The helmet rose up. Sparky leaned in for a closer look. The result was even worse than before. The machine had indeed coated Trolla's hair in slime, but it had also pumped all of the slugs through the tubes. Dozens of the slimy creatures were now clinging to Trolla's hair, munching happily on strands of moss. Sparky was horrified.
Oh, my cogs and sprockets. This is a disaster.
It's okay, Sparky.
Trolla said as a slug slimed its way down her forehead.
Maybe I'll get used to having slugs in my hair. They're kind of cute in a gooey way.
No,
Sparky cried, her face filled with frustration.
it has to be perfect. This is not perfect.
Maybe we should just give up.
Trolla suggested gently.
I can go back to my bone comb. It's not so badly broken.
Give up?
Sparky gasped, looking at the piles of spare parts, the plans, and the complicated machine she had spent all day building.
I can't give up now. I've put so much time and effort into this invention. I've used all my best ideas and parts. We have to keep going.
Trolla sighed.
Okay, Sparky, one more try.
But now it was getting very late. The moon was high in the sky and Trolla was exhausted. But Sparky was working like a whirlwind. She was not going to be defeated,
I know the problem.
she declared.
Not enough combing power. We need more brushes.
She worked furiously, tripling the number of brushes inside the helmet until it looked on the inside like a metal hedgehog.
All right, Tangle Tamer 3 is ready.
Sparky said, her eyes wide with a determined gleam.
In you go, Trolla.
Trolla was so tired she could barely keep her eyes open. She slumped into the chair. The helmet came down with a heavy clang. This time, when Sparky turned it on, the machine was not gentle. It roared to life, shaking and vibrating wildly. It was so loud and bumpy that Trolla couldn't even read her magazine. She just closed her eyes and held on tight, enduring the wild treatment for another long, miserable hour. She felt like her head was inside a giant washing machine full of angry bats. When the hour was finally over, Trolla felt completely traumatized.
Finally.
Sparky said as she pressed the button. The helmet lifted. And then the strangest thing happened. A wrench from Sparky's workbench suddenly flew through the air and stuck to Trolla's head with a thwack. Then a handful of nuts and bolts flew out of a jar and stuck to her hair. Then Sparky's metal belt buckle strained, trying to pull her towards Trolla. The troll's hair was magnetic. She looked like a fuzzy green magnet, covered in stray pieces of metal. She was tired, covered in slugs and metal, and she had finally had enough.
I'm going to start on version 4 right now.
Sparky cried.
I just need to invent a demagnetizer and...
No!
Trolla said, her voice quiet but firm. Sparky stopped.
What?
No more.
Trolla said as she carefully pulled a fork off her head.
Sparky, you're my friend. And this was a brilliant idea, but it's not working. You spent all day on this, but sometimes it's better to stop than to keep on going, especially when it's just making things worse.
Sparky looked at the crazy machine. She looked at her poor friend, who was tired and covered in slugs and spoons. She thought about all the time and effort she had put in, and she realized Trolla was right. Just because she had spent a lot of time on it didn't mean she had to spend even more. She let out a long, weary sigh.
You're right. I'm sorry, Trolla.
Trolla gave her a slimy hug.
It's okay, but do you know what you could help me with?
She held up her old broken bone comb. The smile returned to Sparky's face.
Of course.
Together, they sat down at the workbench. Sparky used her delicate tools to carefully clean every bit of grime off the bone comb. She invented a special extra strong glue to fix the broken tooth and even polished the handle until it shone. In the end, with her clean and repaired comb, Trolla was able to brush her hair better than she had in weeks. It wasn't perfect, but it was much better, and she was much happier. And Sparky learned that sometimes the best idea is knowing when to stop. Well, let's discuss some of the tougher words in that story. Traumatized. Trolla felt completely traumatized. If you are traumatized, it means you are very upset and deeply distressed because you went through a very scary or unpleasant experience. Trolla felt terrible after the wild, bumpy ride in the machine. Absorbed. Trolla was absorbed in an article, and the hour flew by. When you are absorbed in something, It means you are giving it all of your attention and thinking deeply about it. It's like your mind is totally busy with what you are doing or reading. And lastly, muffled. Trolla's voice was muffled by the curtain of green hair hanging over her face. When a sound is muffled, it means it is quieter and harder to hear because something is covering or blocking it. Trolla's mouth was covered by her hair, making her voice soft and hard to understand.